Hi everyone, welcome back to our IBP Release series. We are in the month of November, so we will be discussing some of the most interesting highlights that we took from the 24/11 release. I'm Robin from Flexso.
My name is Sander.
And we are both experts in the SAP IBP supply chain planning domain, so we will be taking you through the most interesting features that we have highlighted from this release. So, what we'll be discussing today? So first of all, we will take a look at some improvements and some additions in the Planner Workspace. And we will be taking a look at the possibility to create tasks straight away from your Planner Workspace. Next to that, we bundled some more enhancements to the Planner Workspace. Third of all, we will take a look at the new possibility to do some correlation analysis within your IBP system. And lastly, we will take a look at the possibility to import some of the best practice analytical content which is available in IBP. So I would say, Sander, let's take it away for the first few topics.
Yes. So the first topic we want to highlight is task creation in the Planner Workspace. And in the 24/08 release, planners already had access to tasks, so they could visualize the task, which was already an improvement. But in the philosophy of streamlining the workflow and encouraging cooperation, now SAP also made it available that you could edit your tasks and create tasks. With edit, we mean like, okay, you can change your status, you can change the filter, you can change your workbook. So all in all, your Planner Workspace becomes the place to manage your tasks. This is also demoed by SAP with a small video. I think it's nearly 3 minutes long, and it will be linked in our presentation. Let's have a look at how you create a task in the Planner Workspace. So it's very easy. A little button appears, create task. You give it a name, you give it a due date, and you assign it to the department you want to give the task to. And then if the task is created, then it will become immediately available in your task list. So I think it's a very nice feature. But if you want to work in the old way, meaning via the manage task application, this is also a possibility because the app has been improved. So previously you could visualize your tasks, you could filter, but now the link between your task and your Planner Workspace or your planning view is also established in the manage tasks application. So both Planner Workspace, the new way of working, and manage tasks, the old way of working, it's still a valid way of working. The planner is free to use either one. The next topic is also a topic on the Planner Workspaces. So we really see that SAP focuses on the Planner Workspace, and the topics, it's more a bundle of topics, focuses on the UI. So previously, a conditional formatting was already available, but in my opinion, something was lacking, and it was the ability to compare key figure values. For example, I'm a planner and I want to check if my projected stock drops below my safety stock. I compare two key figure values. This was not possible before 24/11. So now this is introduced. I think this is a huge improvement. The second feature is an improvement on the formulas, formerly known as local members, and now they're easier than ever to set up. New functions, more enhanced functions have been introduced, more operators have been introduced, and there is an improved UI that guides users to build their own formulas with some small help functionality. And then finally, we want to highlight the contextual navigation, a very strong feature of the Planner Workspace. All these three UI improvements are also demoed by SAP. Again, we will link the video in our presentation. If we have a look at the contextual navigation and the improvement that is made over there, we look at a small example. We start with the transportation view. Some products are transported from location being, for example, Beijing, and we send it to Rotterdam. If a user wants to have a look at the capacity view via contextual navigation, it should look at the Beijing plant because products are produced in Beijing and sent to Rotterdam. Previously, this was not possible, but with attribute mappings, which is introduced, we can tell the contextual navigation my ship from location should be the input and not the Rotterdam location. And of course, finally, we can visualize the capacity on Beijing. We can see the supply, the utilization, and whatever. So I think the contextual navigation is a very strong feature, and with this new improvement, it becomes even better.
All right. So I see lots of improvements again, as you said, on the Planner Workspace. So I suppose SAP is putting some more weight in the scales when comparing or making the decision between the Excel UI on the one hand, Planner Workspace on the other hand. So definitely going forward is something to
this is a feature that's not available in the Excel, so I think the Planner Workspace will be very viable for some customers.
All right. Thanks you, Sander. So let's now take a look at what is called correlation analysis. So it's something which IBP has now been introducing. So it's something, so SAP has introduced both a new application to manage the correlation analysis profiles, as well as a job that you can run to basically do this analysis between different key figures. So what you can do with the job is you can basically analyze whether specific data points, specific key figure values, whether they are relevant or not in order to further improve your forecast accuracy. You can do so by analyzing this correlation between that one main key figure, that main output key figure, and other input key figures, or what they call variables as well. I think some straightforward examples we can straight away think of are, for example, promotional info, promotional volumes. And we can see straight away whether or not there is a strong correlation between a promotion volume on the one hand and, for example, the sales that we see in the system on the other hand. Or even macroeconomical factors, for example, think about GDP, for example. We can also see straight away whether they have an impact on the sales quantity in the end. So basically, IBP hereby provides a tool we can use that to see which data is now useful for sales forecasting, which is not. So which inputs should I consider in my forecasting algorithms, and which inputs can I leave out of the equation, let's say. So by doing so, you further improve your forecast, you further improve or enhance your forecast accuracy, and you make your forecasting algorithms more robust and more complete, let's say. So in the end, all this is again aimed at improving the forecast accuracy and ultimately providing the users, the planners, with a solid baseline for these data-driven decisions. Now we have this information, we have this empirical information on the relationship between different variables. So we can decide, using a couple of business rules, for example, which parameters or which factors are important for our statistical forecast and which ones we can neglect because they don't have a higher correlation with the output volumes, let's say. So if we take a look at a very straightforward, simplified example of a stepwise approach, how you can use this, of course, it all starts with the input data that you have both for your main key figure and your output key figure, and these different variables that you can use or analyze in the system. So you need to either upload your data or validate the input data which is already there. Then secondly, you will be managing the profiles itself to calculate this correlation. You can define the input key figures, you can define the time level or the calculation level on which you want to run this analysis, and you can then properly execute the job in IBP. Of course, this will require some administration configuration in the web UI of IBP, but it's quite straightforward. And ultimately, the system will then calculate this correlation percentage, and it will write this output in a specific output key figure, again, which one you define in the profile, let's say. In this case, it's a very extreme example, let's say. There is a very high correlation in this case between the actual sales and the promotional volumes that we observed over time. So in this case, I think it would make sense, of course, to include this promotional value in the forecasting algorithms. Of course, for other examples, it might be less extreme, but then it will come down to proper business rules in order to identify which parameters to include and which parameters we can leave out.
I think this tool can really help to gain some insights for the demand planners. And I think I have a client that will be very interested in it.
That's always good news, of course. Okay, so let's go to the next, to the final one to highlight for today. So we will be taking a look at the possibility that we now introduced to import best practices analytical content into our existing landscape. So over the past couple of releases, we have seen that SAP has introduced or is constantly updating best practice analytical content for different aspects of your supply chain. So we already saw it for demand planning, inventory optimization, and also S&OP review processes. So also for these different aspects, already some best practice content was available. Now, first of all, with the 24.11 release, SAP also has introduced some best practice analytical content for response and supply planning. So really going into the details on your specific orders or on specific capacity utilization of specific resources. And in general, we know that these best practices, that they provide a very solid foundation and a very solid baseline that you can use to adopt different aspects of your supply chain and also properly analyze the different aspects of your supply chain. So next to the introduction of the best practices contents for response and supply, another novelty or another highlight of the 24.11 release is that we now also have the possibility to very easily import this best practices content into your existing landscape, so into your existing planning areas that you are already using within IBP. Whereas previously you needed to start from a new planning area, starting from scratch basically, you can now very easily import this best practices contents into your planning areas that you are currently already using. Of course, it then comes down to the business users or the key users to add some specific customer content to make sure that your actual customer requirements are also captured on top of this foundation and that you can really tweak towards your own organization. Ultimately, it's all based on the fact that we take the starting point and we can tailor it to your own customer needs, to your own customer requirements, so that in the end you can measure and you can analyze what truly matters for your organization. So again, by focusing a lot on this best practices content, we can standardize a little bit the system, but we always have that solid foundation, that solid baseline that a specific user, a specific planner can start from in analyzing his or her own supply chain data, let's say.
Yeah, again, I think this is a step in the right direction from SAP.
Yes, surely. So this best practices content, you can be sure that over time it will constantly be updated, it will constantly be improved. So if you use it as a starting point, I think you are good for the future and in order to analyze and properly adopt your system data. Lots of data is available within IBP, but it makes sense to also use this data to visualize, to report, and to make decisions, of course.
Yes.
So that's what we wanted to discuss today for the 24.11 release. If you want to know more about this particular release or any of the past releases, we have our landing page where you can see the overview of all the latest releases that we have highlighted. If you have any specific questions on your supply chain planning or on SAP IBP specifically, feel free to get in touch via the LinkedIn profile, which is also mentioned in here. Here you can get in touch with our supply chain experts answering your questions. We can tailor your business needs into a specific solution that we can come up. So the only thing left to say is thank you all for watching. So we hope to see you after the new year for the 25.02 release in February. So thank you all for watching and bye-bye.
See you.